Hi, my name is Ginger Annis, Veteran Service Officer for Alexander County. Did you know there are approximately 850 World War II servicemen and women passing away each day? Each of these service personnel have a story about friendships, families, experiences, and achievements. The Veterans Service Office, in cooperation with the Alexander County Government Channel, will be hosting, in a series, several short stories shared by these courageous veterans. So sit back and enjoy our history, our heroes. Hi, my name is Ginger Annis. I'm the Alexander County Veteran Service Officer, and today I am here with J. Lee Price. Mr. Price, would you like to start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
J. Lee Price, and I'm born in 1919. I'm 93 years old. Will be the first day of July.
And where do you live now?
I live in Stony Point, North Carolina.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Alexander County, near Friendship Church.
Now, what war were you involved with?
World War II.
And what was your job?
A tank driver.
Were you drafted or did you volunteer?
I was drafted.
Prior to service, what did you do?
In service.
Before you joined the military, what did you do?
I was a I worked at Kiwanis Technical Furniture in Statesville for 24 years, and I worked at Cannon Mills for 2 years, and I worked in the aircraft factory at Glen L. Martin's in Baltimore, Maryland for a little over 2 years before I went to service.
Were you married before you joined the military?
No, ma'am.
What branch of service were you in?
I was Army.
And what was your highest rank that you attained?
Private, first class.
Where'd you go to basic training?
Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Did you like that?
It was okay. It was a tank. Where you learn about tanks, driving tanks.
Where were you stationed when you were in the military? What bases?
Fort Bragg and well, I was at Fort Knox, and also Camp Gordon, Georgia.
Did you get to go in and see the gold bars in Fort Knox?
No, I didn't.
I wish you would have. You could have told me about that. Did you make any friends when you were in the service?
Well, yes, I did. Most of the boys that was in the cavalry I was in, 3rd Cavalry, they were from Detroit, Michigan. See, that it was already a company made, and they needed replacements. And when I finished Fort Knox, I went in as a replacement.
So they were already established when you went in?
But they were here. They hadn't went overseas.
Okay. Do you remember any of your superior officers, and if you do, why?
I'll tell one. I thought about Captain Brennan, my captain. I just remember his name. And I at one time I knew several of them. And what I liked about him and also the colonel, I know the colonel, but I've been trying to think since I saw you or talked to you about it. I'd like to remember his name because they weren't like some people. They come up there where you was at and they took chances just like we did. I saw that happen. that made you feel a lot better about the service.
Made you trust them a little more when they were leading. Where did you serve overseas?
In Europe, under Patton.
Did you get to meet him?
One time. I didn't like that too good because he turned us around and made us go back. We were supposed to get a 3-day rest.
I'm sure that wasn't much fun. Can you tell us about any skirmishes or battles that you were in?
Well, we were reconnaissance. We more or less went up to see what was there, and if we could handle it, take care of it, we did. If we didn't, we call up something heavier, come back and pick it up. We had our own planes scrape us, with guns, because they would use insignias on the German tanks and stuff. Would use insignias off of Americans, and a lot of times we'd take more territory than we were supposed to take, and the Americans didn't know it. Right. They didn't know that. So they, I dreaded that about as much as anything, because your own plane coming by and attacking you doesn't sound good. Right. But it was a mistake. I mean, they didn't mean to. It's their orders, but we'd went further and we were supposed to go.
So y'all were very efficient.
Well, I say, you know what a clay pigeon is? That's sort of what we were. Okay. Go up there and see what's up there, and tell them what's up there. If we can't care of it, okay. If we could, somebody else come get it.
In your picture book we were looking at earlier, there's a picture in there about the steeples in Germany. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about what you would do there?
Well, the main thing about the first thing you do is, not at the beginning, but there were so many soldiers killed riding in jeeps with a sniper coming out of the steeple of the church. So they had orders, I think, just to go ahead and blow that steeple off for first thing, which was bad business, but that was the orders.
Well, it's for the safety of the American men.
Right.
Did your unit or you ever come under attack?
Several times. I've been in places that's like this here, and they start bombing, dropping bombs around in the tanks. It might be a tank here and one there. You better move pretty quick, because they knowed where you was at, and they was zeroing in on you. You had to get out of that place somehow. And I had to. My tank was hit one time with a 88. But it happened to be a HE shell, high explosive, and it had been armed and Pearson. It had done a lot more damage. It tore part of the track off of the tank. But by the time my tank commander had me reverse to get out of the way, the tanks behind it already spotted the gun and knocked it out. So I guess that's about as close as I come of getting hit. I can't think offhand. They probably was some more close by, but it's hard to remember. It's hard to remember a lot of things. Right. Some things you don't remember.
Now, were you the tank driver, or did you man the gun?
I was the driver, and I had an assistant driver, and had a loader, and a gunner, and a tank commander. There's 5 of us.
Was it not crowded in there?
No. I had a seat on one side, driver did. Assistant driver on the other side, and then the tank commander's up on the turret part, and then there had to be a fellow in there to load that guns, and then the gunner.
I guess they wanted the driver to be comfortable.
Do what?
They wanted the driver to be comfortable.
I reckon. You had a radio on. I mean, through your sort of helmet. You saw it a while ago, and you talk back as far as the tank commander. He'd tell you what to do.
What kind of conditions did you have to live in while you were in service?
Oh, C and AK rations. You know what that is?
Yes, sir. I do.
Okay, but I remember a train coming by, and we were stalled or standing. We weren't moving or nothing, and the train was parked too, pretty close to where we at, and we broke into that train. It was loaded with food and stuff like that. And I remember getting peaches and milk, cream, and eating that. Boy, that tasted good. I bet. I remember one time that happened. So nobody didn't say nothing, and we did. I remember we thought we was in Germany at one time, and the chickens there in the buildings, and we was in France, and we just almost in Germany, but we thought we was in Germany, and there wasn't nobody living there right then at that time. The houses and we got some of them chickens, and I remember cooked them in a galvanized bucket. You know what I'm talking about? And come to find out, there's a Frenchman's chickens, and the captain had to pay for them. So I mean, you know, things like that happen. And when you're out like that, you do a lot of things you wouldn't do ordinarily.
Where did you sleep?
Under the tank, if I had a place I dug out, because you don't know when they're going to start shelling or whatnot.
So you didn't have a building that you went back to go to bed or anything like that? You were just out there?
Right. And they did furnish all the cigarettes you wanted. I smoked back then. I quit in 1983. I haven't smoked any since, but I was the only one in the tank, and then I had plenty of cigarettes because the rest of them did.
How did you handle being away from home and family?
Well, you know, there's nothing. Nothing you can do about it. You just. I guess you just sort of took it day by day and sort of let things go.
Did you get very many letters from home?
Yes. I see. We most of the time was the first ones in a little old town, and they had to turn all their guns in and their knives and all that stuff, so they couldn't use them, you know, after you pass by.
Right.
I've seen that. I've took my tank and laid guns down on the sidewalk, shotguns and stuff like that, and run the tank down through there so they couldn't use it because we couldn't keep them all. And I had maybe saw one or two that I liked pretty good, and I'd tie them on the side of the tank, on the fender part of the tank. They said you couldn't ship nothing back, but I shipped a couple back.
Do you still have them?
They stayed on there maybe for a month before I could even get them sitting out there, or maybe longer. And they had something what they call cosmoline. I soaked them good in that, and wrapped them up and sent them home. And they had them cleaned up when I got home. And then also A German Luger. You know what that is? Are you ever
I've
here?
seen one, but
Well,
I've heard of them.
Okay, they were expensive. And we had plenty of it. That's the first thing we'd get a hold of.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I always had one of them. But we was issued by being in the tank, I was issued a carbine,
Mm-hmm.
which is a little bit shorter than an M1.
Mm-hmm.
And we always thought we'd get in and out of a tank. If you had a 45, it'd be awful nice. American 45. So those boys back further from us, they was issued 45s. Some of them was. And if you had a Luger, you could swap it for 45 with any soldier. So we all wound up with 45s. And when we got ready to come home, Captain told us that now my stuff won't be searched, but your stuff's going to be searched. He said if y'all put a tag on them guns, what you want, and put your name on them, you'll get them back when you get over the state. That's the only way I got my 45 back, and the Luger too. I mean, I brought a Luger back. I could have brought a dozen Lugers, but I just brought one back. And when I got back, everybody wanted that Luger, so I give it to my grandson.
So you still have it around?
It's in the.
What part did faith play when you were overseas?
What part of what?
Did faith play?
Faith.
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 What you mean as far as I guess I was a Lutheran, and I'd get mail from church, one thing or another. But is that what you sort of want to know? Or, okay. And I really don't know what type of people I really was over there. So we wasn't still long at a time. We might be here in this section today, and tonight we might go blackouts and follow one tank. Maybe we might be somewhere up towards Lenore tomorrow. Right. You never know. You don't know. I guess we just, whatever they wanted us to go to, we would mostly travel back roads instead of a main street. But well, you know what it was, a 3rd Cavalry, don't you? 3rd Army under Patton. You already had that, didn't you? Okay. I guess he was sort of outspoken person and took a lot of chances, but you know, after the war was over, he got killed in a Jeep. No army going on, so you never know about something like that.
What did you do for fun during leave?
You mean over there? You didn't have no leave over there. Very south. You might get 3 days. Well, you didn't. I mean, 3 days be gone before you know it. There wasn't nothing much you could do. Right. I know we were sitting down at the right close to Rhine River. Before we crossed the Rhine River, they were going so fast, or traveling so fast, the Germans blew the bridge up across the river. And finally, they come in there and built pontoons, rubber rafts, And we drove our tanks across on them rubber rafts, across the river. I mean, you go out in there, you're way down in there, then you come up, and it was a winery right there close by. Our captain had a 6x6, didn't have nothing on it, and they loaded it up with champagne and all that stuff. And they let us have, now that's what you done for, I think they all, 3 days we had at one time. I remember they had a party for that. But I never was too much for champagne, but when you have time like that, you just do a lot of things you wouldn't do ordinary.
Right. Did you receive any awards or medals for your time in service?
No, I didn't.
Do you have still photos or any pieces of your uniform or your uniform from your time?
I had a little of it at home. I got a blanket I keep, regular army blanket. In the wintertime, I have it on the bed. So, I had my dog tags, but I don't know what happened to them. I had them, but I don't know what happened to them. There might be at my old home place yet, somewhere, but I've thought about them several times, and they could be at my house. Put him somewhere, and I might have put them and forgot about it. I don't know.
Since you got out of the military, what occupation have you been doing?
Well, I worked at, I got married first.
That's important.
And I worked at a cotton mill for about off and on, and I raised chickens, had a big chicken house, broilers. And I raised hogs and some cows. Then I went from there, I went to Kiwanee Technical Furniture in Statesville. I worked there for 24 years. All that time I had cows, and I got out of the chicken business and out of the hog business, and I still had cows. I had upwards of 100 head of cattle at one time, food with them and all that too.
Were any of your family members or ancestors in the military?
I had one brother. He's dead. He was in the ancestors. Now, I got a great grandpa in Civil War, Noe Price. I mean Noe Sipe. So I mean, I probably wouldn't have known all about it, but a year or so ago, they bought them. I think somehow or another they bought them all tomb rock. Yeah, they didn't have no tomb rock much. Right. And he's buried at Friendship Church, where I go to church to. Okay. And it's pretty close to the road, and you can see it as you go by there. Other than that, I don't think I've got anybody that I know of close by. Okay.
Are you active in any veteran service organizations in the county?
I'm American Legion, and I'm Veterans of Foreign War. Other than that,
is that all?
That's all that I know of.
Okay. What would you say to the youth today about the armed forces?
You mean whether they should join, or what do you mean?
What advice would you give them today if they're thinking about joining?
Oh, well, I advise them if that's what they like to do, and they thought they could do them a good job, that's what they ought to do. Uh, it's getting to the point where there ain't much work to do. A lot of them, that's about the only thing you got to do right now. Yeah.
Do you have any other words of advice for the people of Alexander County?
I better not say it. I better. They probably wouldn't pay no attention to me no how.
Well, Mr. Price, I'd like to thank you for your service to the country and thank you for talking to me.